Hi, welcome to the Good News Show. I'm your host, Terry Modica. In today's episode of Catholic Heroes, I'm speaking with Pam Stamey. She's the president of the Homemakers, a ministry here in the Diocese of St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome, Pam.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Please describe to us what it is that you do. What is the Homemakers all about?
The Homemakers are a ministry that goes out and furnishes homes for low-income families. And I think you'd be shocked as how many people and families there are that are sleeping on the floor. When we found out, we wanted to make sure that that didn't happen anymore in our town. So we go out and we furnish houses for poor families in our area.
So by furnish houses, you mean the furniture, or do they already have homes? Are they homeless?
It depends. We have three different ministries. We have the San Jose Homemakers, which helps the farm families out in Dover, Florida. We have the Pinellas Hope Homemakers. They help the veterans in Pinellas, and they also help Pinellas Hope, which is the homeless people in Tent City. When they graduate from Tent City and they are able to find a job and they get an apartment, we go in and fully furnish that apartment. Because if you can imagine, they finally have enough money to pay rent, but they're not going to have money to furnish the apartment. So we go in and we do everything, top to bottom. We put curtains on the windows, we put sheets on the beds, comforters, dust ruffles, dishes in the cabinets, everything ready to go when they move in.
Well, before we get any further into what it is that you do, let me ask you this. How did you get involved in this?
Well, it all started on December 6th, 2008, when I do Underwear Sunday for St. Stephen's, and I know that sounds funny, but what we found out from the teachers is that kids are coming to school without underwear, and it's because people donate clothes and they donate furniture and they donate things, but they don't donate underwear because you don't want used underwear. It has to be really new. And so the teachers were having to go out and buy it. It was a hardship because teachers don't get paid that much money. So it was really good for them, for us to step in. So over the last 8 years, we've done over 70,000 pairs of underwear to the local schools. But when I drop that underwear off, I always tell the social workers, if you need anything, let me know. And when I was at Dover Elementary, they said that they had families that were sleeping on the floor, and I was shocked. And I said, well, can I bring beds? I have 2 twin beds at my house that I can get rid of. And she said, well, I'm not sure because they don't have room necessarily in the trailers. So on December 6th, she called me and she says, I have a family of 5 and they need 3 twin beds. And I said, okay. She goes, they absolutely have nothing. This is their very first apartment. And I was like, okay, well then why, if there's 5 people, do they only need 3 twin beds? And they said, well, the 11-year-old and the 9-year-old will sleep in 1 twin.
Wow.
And the 7-year-old and the 5-year-old boy will sleep in 1 twin. And the mother will sleep in a twin. And I said, well, do they have a couch? Do they have a table? What do they have? And she says, well, I'll give you the number. So I called the mom, and she told me that they were migrant, and she was worried about what she would do with the furniture at the end. And I said, don't worry about that. We'll go in. I said, if you haven't moved in yet, if I could just have the keys to the apartment, that would be great. And then I called a girlfriend of mine, Heidi Smith, and I said, Heidi, what are you doing this weekend? And she said, why? Because she always knows that's a loaded question with me. And I said, well, I have a family that I need to furnish an apartment for. And I said, they have 4 kids. And she was like, okay, let's do it. So we pulled dishes out of our cabinets and we pulled pictures off the walls. You always have extra knickknacks laying around and extra towels. We went and brought them brand new towels. And then we went yard sailing. And we got beds, and we got a queen bed for the mom. And then we put the word out, and then we started getting donations, and we were going and we picking bunk beds up and bringing them to the boys. And then we found, in 3 days, we literally furnished this house top to bottom. We had little construction sheets on the twin beds for the boys, and we were literally down to 1 twin box spring that I could not find. And I was so frustrated. I stayed up all night praying to St. Anthony. I bugged him all night long. He was like, okay, well, I don't know how he was supposed to deliver it to me at my house, but I guess that's what I thought he was going to do. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, we get up and we're headed over to Lakeland. And on the side of the road, there is 1 twin, brand new twin box spring on the side of the road. And I said, stop, there's my box spring. And we're all in church clothes. And my husband looks at me and goes, you want me to pull over? And I said, yeah, that's my box spring. He was like, he thought I was a lunatic, but he pulled over with the 3 kids still in the car. And I went up and I knocked on the door. We're in a Camry, so I can't exactly put the box spring in the Camry. So I walked up and I knocked on the door and I said to this woman, I said, I really need that box spring for this family that is sleeping on the floor. I'm down to 1 twin box spring and I really need it. I said, but I'm headed to Lakeland right now and I can't come back and get it for another few hours. And she said, no worries, what else do you need? Then she gave me matching linens for the beds. She had 2 sets of twin comforter sets for the girls. I mean, we were putting blankets on and we had regular sheets, but now then she gave me a frame. We had everything we needed after that so I came back and we set it up and we sat down and we just looked at each other like, we did it. It was like, that was so great. And then the apartment just happened to be at the San Jose Mission. And
explain what the San Jose Mission is.
Well, the San Jose Mission is an apartment complex that was built for migrant families and farm families in Dover, Florida. And in this place, you have to have 51% of your income has to come from farming. So it's considered a farm camp. And you can't make over $25,000 a year. So it's very low income. And so the families come in and they can stay there for a reduced rate in rent, but they have to be off the floor because it is a farm camp. They cannot sleep on the floor. So, there's inspections done all the time, and Gracie knows, you have to make sure that everybody is following the regulations. But it's hard when they're really poor, and she knows all these families are coming in, and there was a gentleman that was doing it before, and he had passed away. And there was he was just doing it himself. But it's a big ministry for one person. So when we sat down on our couch that we put in, so proud, and said, oh, look at our great job, patting ourselves on the back, she said, I have 16 other families coming in that need the exact same thing. And we went, oh my gosh. So the goal was off the floor by Christmas because all of the farm families were coming in. And in between December 6th and December 25th, we delivered 36 beds.
Now, what you're describing does not require somebody of faith to be doing. How does your faith tie into this?
Well, I bug the Lord and St. Anthony on a regular basis. So I know miracles happen every day in San Jose. The other day, it happens every day for me, every single day. But the other day, somebody asked me the exact same question. And I didn't have I needed 5 full beds. And I didn't have any full beds that day. And I came in with complete faith that somehow I was going to have 5 full beds. I knew what was being picked up, but none of them were full beds. And by the end, I started at 10 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, I had all 5 full beds in there because someone called me and said, hey, I have 2 full beds that I need to get rid of today. And my daughter has one at her house. Is there any way you can come and pick that up in the next week or so? I said, can I come and pick that up in the next hour? And I picked it. Alan Odell, my Superman for San Jose, he had his trailer on the back of his van, and I had my trailer on the back of my Navigator, and we went straight, picked him up, and came back, picked up the team, and went straight to drop them off. It's a miracle. Miracles happen every day. You just have to recognize them. And really, it's about prayer and faith and just saying, okay, I know I have no twin beds, or full beds, or queen beds, but I'm going to do this today. And it just happens. God works. He is my right-hand man, and he's my God. I get to go and ask him for things, and he says yes to me all the time. Sometimes he says no. I need space. He hasn't given me my space yet. But
the warehouse space you're talking about.
Yeah.
That one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the challenges that you face, and that is one of the challenges. You've recently lost some warehouse space, haven't you? How did that happen?
We started out. It's a very humble little convent on mission property that we have been able to, and all the bedrooms have become a different room. One bedroom is a dish room, and one bedroom is the baby room where we put all the baby stuff, and one room is the chair room, and then the garage, which is fully air conditioned and closed off, has couches and beds in it. And that has been a gift from God, even though you would walk into that place and think there's no way they could store furniture in this place. Father Bill actually said, you cannot store 20 apartments worth of furniture in that little convent. And I said, okay, it's okay. And we did. we did. We went, the couches are straight up and down. You know, they're not laying flat. We'd love to have them flat, but they're not. But it worked. Well, then a beautiful thing happened. Redland Christian Migrant Association, which is this fabulous organization that helps many, many farm families with child care, is going to tear down our little convent, and they're going to build a big facility to so that they can double the number of children that they keep in after-school care and Head Start, and that way the families can continue to work to support their families. And so they need the space. They purchased it, so we can't say anything, and that's okay, because I have complete faith that the Lord is going to deliver me another space. We need between 3,000 and 6,000 square feet for just San Jose. And then the Tampa warehouse, we were going to have to leave the Tampa warehouse. And the Tampa Housing Authority has been so generous to let us in there. And we've helped hundreds of families in just a couple of years. So we really are worth the space. But the Tampa Housing Authority, as generous as they've been, they're looking to have their warehouse back. And, of course, that all made us very sad. And then we found out that we had another space that Catholic Charities was willing to pay $1,000 a month for. But then it was going to be too much with insurance and whatever, so we just lost that one. Mm. And so now I think we're going to be paying Tampa Housing Authority $1,000 a month to stay in the current space. And that's really hard because we don't have $1,000 a month, but the Lord always provides. So, you know, we operate on a zero budget. We have no money. I mean, I have an account. People have given me, you know, $20 or $70 here or there. So we have about $700 in account. But what we usually use that for is if we have, I hate to give out used pillows. So if you think that there's a family of 8 and you want to give them 8 pillows, because everybody should have a clean, new pillow, it costs some money. So when we run out of pillows, I'll say to one of the girls, you know, the treasurer, could you please go and buy me 20 pillows? And so she'll take it out of that account and go buy 20 pillows for it.
If there was somebody watching this video who is saying, boy, I'd like to get involved in something like that, how would you recommend that they, let's say it's in a place where there is not an existing organization like what you're involved with. How do they get something like that started? You started from scratch. How does somebody else do that?
Well, first of all, I would like to help. Anybody who wants to start a homemakers program, I'm in. I have all the paperwork ready to go. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I will come out to wherever you are, and I will help you get started. It's a you know, I can't stay forever, but I could stay for a week and really just get you going. And I hope that there are ministries that open up that do this, because it's something that nobody else is doing. That I don't know of any other ministry that does this. And it's so rewarding, and the need is so great everywhere, especially now. And it doesn't have to be that it's whatever population is in your area. If it's the homeless, if it's the some veterans, or if it's, you know, whoever the poor are in your area, you can change their lives. And it's so simple. San Jose operates 1 day a week. Tampa Homemakers operates 1 day a week. Pinellas Hope operates 1 day a week. That only means that I work 3 days a week and then 2 days office days. But everybody else, they only work 1 day a week. Now it's all day. We have people that come in the morning, people come in the afternoon, people come in at night. So it's a full day, but it's only 1 day a week, really. And you can help. San Jose helped 400 families in 2 years. That's a family every other day. Imagine furnishing your own house. You know, moving. You move your you know, even if you lived in a little house, you have to move all the furniture from one little house to another little house. Imagine that move. It seems like this huge undertaking, but somehow it just happens and you just do it, and it's just not. Once you have the manpower to do it, it's a miracle.
Manpower and the faith that God will provide.
Right. He always provides. He always provides me.
I thank you very much for taking the time out to do this interview and help people understand not just what is happening here in this diocese through your efforts and everybody who works with you, but understand the need that's out there and the difference that a person can make. Thank you for watching this video.